Welcome everyone! In this video I'm going to be showcasing and doing a tutorial for Tripwire Transmutation. Tripwire Transmutation is a type of block transmutation, which means it can be used to change the data value of a block. Data values were used in old versions to store different information about blocks. So for the furnace, it's being used for the rotation. For the end portal frame, it can actually be used for the Eye of Ender and the rotation. And for wool, it's being used for color. So it was used all over the place back in early versions. Now this transmutation only worked from 12W22A to 12W26A, which were all 1.3 snapshots. So this doesn't work in any full release. Now with that start version, you're going to want to be careful because in 12W22A, this only worked temporarily. So it can be used, but the permanent behavior I'm going to be showcasing actually starts in 12W23A. In the video, I'm going to be using 12W26A. The actual machine for this is very simple. All it is two tripwire hooks that are surrounding the block you want transmutated in a string that is adjacent to the tripwire hook. If an entity collides with this string, it will go to one data value, and when the collision ends, it will go to a different data value. And this can be any entity. That was the player, me doing that, but it could be an arrow, or it could be a chicken, any entity that collides with that. Now this build is actually directionally dependent. So if you're building tripwire hooks on the z-axis, you're going to want to make sure the string is on the positive x side of it. So here, this will cause transmutation, but if you put the string on the negative x direction, nothing will occur when you touch this. And if you put the transmutation machine on the x-axis, then you're going to make sure the string's on the negative z side. The positive z will not do anything. Tripwire transmutation allows for 4 different data values, and those data values depend on whether the machine is in the suspended or non-suspended state. Suspended means that both the tripwire hook and the string are above error or some other incomplete block. If this is the case, it will give you data value 7 when you begin collision, and data value 6 when you end collision. The other state is non-suspended, and that means you have a solid block underneath both of these. If that's the case, it will give you data value 5 when you begin collision, and data value 4 when you end collision. It's important that both the tripwire hook and the string are in the same states. If you mismatch them, it won't work. Only when they're both suspended or both non-suspended will the transmutation actually happen. It's also important to note this is a set. Unlike some other transmutations that will add or subtract, when you have it like this, it's always going to go to the same data values. So black wool starts with data value 15, but even with that beginning, it's going to go to the same 7 and 6. A question you might have is how do you keep the collision beginning data values? Say I want to keep data value 7 for the suspended string, but every time I leave the string, it's going to go back to data value 6 because you're ending collision. An easy fix for this is while you're in the middle of the string or some other entity, just break the tripwire hook and it won't be able to transmutate back. So now you can put that back and you've still got the data value 7. Also, another way of doing it is the transmutation also happens while you're breaking or placing the string. So if you place the string, it will give you the same data value as if you had ended collision. If you break it, it's the same as if you started collision. So that can be used as well, and no collision is required for that. This is also useful for some redstone components that will get powered if you actually touch the string. Now this is only the simplest design of the tripwire transmutation machine. The line between the two tripwire hooks can be a lot longer, as long as this block is still right next to the tripwire hook. So you can see this will still work, and if we take this and we try putting it 1 block away, it will not. It has to be right next to the tripwire hook with the string next to it. But you can make it as long as a normal tripwire line and it will still work. It's just simpler to only use this 1 block. So this method works on any block you get between the tripwire hooks. And I've got some examples of what this can be used for. So say you get the tripwire hooks around an end portal, it will rotate it and put the eye of Ender in it for you. So you don't actually need to obtain the eye of Ender if you use this machine. If I put a furnace in here, it can change the direction, but it can also get a faceless furnace if it's a non-suspended string. Also, I've shown this on my channel before. We can get a 0 widths cake slice, also with suspended string. So that's more even than normally possible. If I put a piston in here, piston is a redstone component, so if you try transmutating it with the string, it can not work. So this is one of the cases where breaking and then placing the string could be used. And here I've got the infamous 6-sided piston. And this is really dangerous. If you place next to this while it's powered, it can cause update suppression and crash your world. So be careful of that one. Here's the brewing stand. It can change the number of bottles in the brewing stand, but the inventory will actually be empty. And I've also shown this, the cauldron. You can get actually overflowed. So if you get a comparator output from this, it will be higher than normal. And I'm showing a lot of the cool blocks that visually change, but even if you put something as boring as stone, it looks like nothing changes, but this data value has in fact changed. So right now it has a data value of 6. And for stone, if you update it to 1.8, it will actually become one of the new types of stone. But even blocks that don't become something later on, you can obtain as any data value using this method. That is it for this video. A massive thanks to NAFCO222, who originally shared this method with me. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Bye.